What's up, guys? Quick video for you. Just continuing with the Truth series. A little snippet of information for you. Um, the terms that we use when we talk about biblical or religious things really matter with how we perceive things and what we believe and what we don't believe. So when we use the word Jew or Jewish or Judaism, those words, I really don't like those words because it gives this perception that's just an inaccurate one. I'll give you an example. um, the word Jew is really not Jew. It should be Yehudi, right? um, Yehudi, or when we talk about Jews we say Yahudim. Okay. When we say Yahudim, that's talking about a person of the tribe of Judah. Okay, the Yahudim. They're from the family, the lineage of Judah himself, which is a person. Okay, when you say Jewish, you could be talking about anyone from the tribes of Israel that just happens to consider themselves from the tribes of Israel that later, went to go live amongst in the kingdom of Judah, once the tribes of Israel were scattered around. You understand? There's some people of Benjamin, of Joseph, Simeon, Asher, all those tribes amongst the tribe of Judah. But since God had given a promise to David, that someone would always sit on the throne, um, you know, after Solomon and of that nature, the kingdom of Judah was the last one standing. And so when we say Jewish, we're thinking, of something that's not really accurate. Do you get what I'm saying? And so terms are very important. You get what I'm saying? There's people who are literally Jewish who are also of the tribe of Judah, but it's hard to distinguish that. And so I try not to say Jewish or Judaism, because Judaism in itself is in another nugget of information for you, isn't even what they called it back in the day. It wasn't Judaism. We don't study, you were either a Pharisee, you were a Essene, you were a Sadducee, whatever the things may have been. But they weren't calling it Judaism. You get what I'm saying? It was the Hebrew faith. Um, whether they called it the Israelite faith or the Hebrew faith, it wasn't called Judaism. That much is known. And so, um, if anything, they might have called it, they wouldn't even call it the Yahudim faith, but they weren't they weren't using that word Jew. You get what I'm saying? That's a modern translation that we have gotten maybe over the last 500 years. It's like Jesus. His name's Yahoshua. We call him Yeshua, but also Jesus. Now, if you know who I'm talking about when I say Jesus, that's fine. But if you don't even know the context, if when you hear Jesus, you think of a white haired or a white skinned man with blonde hair, um, that who wasn't Jewish, who wasn't a Yahud of the Yahudim, then we're talking about two different people. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I say Yeshua. This is why I say Yehoshua, because it forces you to think through a mindset of someone that's in, um, right above North Africa, right in between Asia and North Africa. Um, Basically, is North Africa, to be honest. Of that type of person who's a dark skinned person who's living amongst Hamites and Canaanites and all these people. This man was a homeless um, teacher. He was. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to think of him in these ways. It forces you to take your American mindset and turn it off, and it forces you to take whatever other weird context that people start to say, oh, Jews stole from this religion or they stole. No, you have to think of it in its proper context, so you fully understand, like, where all this information is coming from, how they got to it, what they believed, who they were. One other quick snippet of information. We hear about people say, "Oh, well, Jews stole their it's not even the oldest religion in the world. They stole their information from this person, or they stole their beliefs from this person." They literally, I've heard it all. I've heard people try to say that they've taken it from thousands, hundreds or whatever of different religions. But when you really break down simple things like, okay, when were they around? Like on good example is Zoroaster, or I forgot his other name. He has another Zoroaster, something like that. I forgot his name. But Zoroastrianism. They say it's the world's oldest religion. But this man was born somewhere between 1500 and 1000 BC. Somewhere. That's a 500-year gap. You don't even know what year he was born. We know Moses was born around the year 1398, somewhere around that time, okay? But Moses didn't start the Hebrew faith. Everyone calls it the Abrahamic faiths. And Abraham was born around the year 1900, at least a good 400 years minimum before Zoroaster or whatever his name is. And down the line, everything comes from him. And of course, there's people before him, Noah and stuff, but Abraham is older than Zoroaster. And so we call it the Abrahamic faith. But just like Zoroaster, those people, the Zoroastrianism, they didn't write down their beliefs until like the year 500 BC. This is when the Yehudim were in exile. All of Israel, the children of Israel, were in exile. Um, that around that time is when they first even start writing down Zoroastrianism. So how would we have stolen what they believe if our ancestor came before him? He was even born. You get what I'm saying? And our stuff was written down before their stuff was even written down. Our oral traditions are older, and our written tradition is older. And so there's no way that we could have taken it from them. But when you have context, when you have understanding, when you have dates, when you have truth coming from God's word, and you compare it to what everything else is out there, you start to get understanding like, oh, this is not, this is not taken from this, and there's not contradictions, there's not, because when you get into it for yourself, you stop listening to what other people have to say about it, and you check it out for yourself, then you gain understanding. So hopefully this was a quick snippet. The terms we use mean things. They are very important. I'm cool with saying Jews. I'll say the word Jews and Jewish and stuff when I'm talking to someone that knows what I'm talking about. But the same way, I won't drink around someone that um, is an unbeliever and has a drinking problem, is the same way I won't use the word Jewish and Jew around people who have no context for things of the Hebrew faith and things of all religions, because they need to understand exactly what I'm talking about. And when I was talking about drinking around, because you don't want to be a stumbling block. You don't want to continue this idea of like, oh, it's cool to just get drunk and trash. No, there's a certain way of doing life. You get what I'm saying? And so when you can't do it in its proper context, it has you have to take a step back and really show people like this is what it was intended for. People talk about Jesus making water into wine. Well, he also said, through his apostles, for them not to be intoxicated, not to be them to be. You get what I'm saying? So there's a balance of these things, and so I just want to always give proper context and help people grow in their faith and their walk, and give understanding. So that's a nugget. Talk to you guys again soon. Actually, I'm gonna do another video because I'm trying to do some short videos. So I'm gonna be wearing the same shirt. I'm gonna do another video. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.